Hello and welcome to another edition of the Stench of Truth. Another issue that has come up in the news recently is the reopened investigation into the missing person case of Ethan Patz, who was one of the original milk carton children, and what started that campaign for putting missing children onto milk cartons in an effort to try and find them. Now, this reminds me of past panics that have stricken this country, with satanic ritual abuse being one of them, and then the infamous cases of molestation and sexual abuse with the McMartin preschool incident, the Boys Town incident, the Franklin scandal, and all this sort of thing. And with all of the pedophilia and the charges against the church and charitable organizations and everything like this in reference to missing and exploited children, you have to look at the statistics and you have to say to yourself, is there really a cause for people to be in alarm about the children and about the possibility of them being involved in some of these more outlandish and crazy ideas such as satanic ritual abuse? And I have to say, well, if you do look at the fucking numbers that are provided by the FBI through the Justice Department, you have to come to the conclusion that there has to be something really fucking serious going on here. Because in 2010, the latest statistics that are available, I'm going to give you some numbers, okay? 2010, total missing persons under the age of 18, 531,928. That is over 500,000 people under the age of 18 who were missing in 2010. Of those, roughly half and half, female and male. 288,000 female, 243,000 male. The vast majority of them are white, 314,000. Closely followed by black at 187,000. And then unknown actually is next with 12,000. Then Asian with 10, and Indian at 7,000. Just 7,000! 7,000 missing Indian children in this country? How many Indian children are there in this country? That 7,000 of them could be missing in a single year. 500,000 missing children in 2010. That's for 1 year. Do you understand? If there are 500,000 children, now understandably, some of these are going to be resolved. If there are 500,000 missing children in this country every year, or something approaching that number, this should be a national fucking emergency that something needs to be done about. And I'm not talking about private organizations that put a fucking picture on a milk carton, for God's sake. This is 500,000 fucking children that go missing. Now, naturally, some of them are going to be runaways. Some of them are going to be drug-related things. Some of them are going to be voluntarily, juvenile people, maybe 16 years old, running away from home, this sort of thing. Yes, absolutely, there's going to be a lot of that in there. But 500,000! Why is this not a national fucking emergency? You talk about the so-called drug war and how you have to pour billions and billions of dollars to protect us from the evil fucking drugs coming from South America and other places around the world. And the supposed, the importance of supporting democracy around the fucking world with your goddamn fucking wars of murder and fucking death. And you're sitting here in a country with 500,000 fucking children missing every fucking year. And this is not a national fucking crisis? This is not a national fucking emergency? The fact that it isn't should be cause for you to question why it isn't. And could it be because a lot of these children that go missing every year end up being used and abused and perhaps even murdered by people who are in highly connected positions around this country because of this pedophilia ring that runs in power circles in this fucking country, as revealed by the Franklin scandal? And because it involves money and fucking power, this is never brought to the forefront. Because if you find some of these kids and you realize that they've been put through this kind of horrific fucking treatment and end up dead or living somewhere totally broken as a human being, it's going to lead back to people that have the money and the influence to make all of this go away. And that's why this is not a national fucking crisis. Even though it should be. 500,000 fucking missing kids in this country in 2010. And I imagine the statistics are probably pretty much the same every year. And this is not a national emergency. And this is not something that you could divert from your fucking wars of death to promote democracy. Or from the drug war to protect us from the evil perils of drugs. Or any of the other things that you're pouring fucking hundreds of fucking billions of dollars into. You can't put something together to solve why we have 500,000 fucking missing people under the age of fucking 18 in this country in a year? Well, sure you could. But it's not going to happen. Because a lot of these people, especially 7,000 Indian children. 7,000. How many Indian children are there in this country? What kind of a percentage is 7,000 of the total population of Indian children? Will never be done. It will never be a national crisis. It will never have the kind of money and resources put into it that it should have put into it because of the power and the influence of people behind the scenes who are using and abusing and discarding these people. These human lives. These children. And it's a total fucking disgrace. It's a complete and utter disgrace. And it's a total mockery of everything that people supposedly hold dear in this country. Our future, our children, deserving of nothing but love and support. And we sit here every day and every year that goes by with thousands and then millions of kids gone, unaccounted for, with nothing to show for any kind of real resolution. So don't wonder anymore why there would be these panics of satanic ritual abuse and all of these other things that people have proposed for why these various spates of interest come and go. Because the numbers support the idea that something very nefarious is happening. And I can guarantee you it leads back to halls of power and money and influence. Because that's what makes everything run in this country. And with enough money and influence, you can buy anything you want. And it's the saddest, most disgusting thing to have to say it. But you can buy a kid. You can buy a woman. You can buy a guy. You can buy people. You got enough money and power, you can do it. And it's the most gross and disgusting, horrific thing for me to have to admit that, but it's true. And this will never be a national crisis, even though it's begging for it to be. Thank you. Good night.